Okay, good morning, everybody. It is election day, 11/3. Let's hope America turns out okay today, huh? No matter how you view things, hopefully it's going to be just peaceful. Anyway, so today, what I want to talk about is solving square root equations. So we're going to be solving, not necessarily square root, but solving, and the word radical equations. So the word radical really means root, square root, cube root, whatever it happens to be, okay? So we're going to solve them. And one of the things we have to be careful of is this. We want real numbers. So for sure, we cannot have the square root of a negative number. That's where we're going to check some of our answers, right? And the same thing, you can't have a square root equal to a negative, so we've got to be careful with these. But for the first couple, it's not going to be too bad. But you'll see later on where we're going to need to check, okay? So number one, if I want to solve for x, when I talk about solving, we undo an equation by doing the opposite, okay? We undo an equation, undo by the opposite, okay? I'll show you how we're going to do this, okay? So, if I got a square root, how do I undo a square root? I'm going to do its opposite. I'm going to square it. But I got to do the same thing on both sides, okay? So I square it, square it. The square root with the square cancel each other out, and I get just a plain old x minus 4. They just cancel each other out. But over here, 12 squared is 144. Okay? That seemed pretty easy. We're just going to square both sides to get rid of the square root. 12 squared is 144. To solve, I go plus 4 plus 4. I get x equals 148. Okay, now I'm going to check my answer. Pretty simple. Just use my calculator. I'm going to just plug it in. I'm just going to take the square root. By checking, I'm going to plug it in, see if it works. I'll show you what I mean by square root. And x is 148, so I'll go 148 minus 4, right? Equals 12. Okay, so it checks out. Okay, we're good. That is true, so we keep the answer, okay? Number 2 is different because it's a cube root, okay? So if I got a cube root, again, I want to do the opposite. So the opposite of a cube root is to cube this side, and I'll cube this side, right? Because a cube root is like a 1/3 power with the cube root. They cancel each other out. So I'm just left with a 2x plus 1 equals, well, let's see. Negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 is a negative 27. Keep solving. Minus 1, minus 1. 2x equals negative 28. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. I have x equals negative 14. You don't normally need to check cube roots, but I'll show you how it works anyway. So if I go to my math button, I'm going to check it anyway, just so you guys can see how it works. Cube root of 2, whoops, back up, 2 times my negative 14 times negative 14 plus 1, close parentheses, what does it equal? Negative 3. And that's true. It does equal negative 3, so we have the right value. Okay, good. Number 3 is a little bit more involved. Before we square it, before you square it, get rid of all the extra numbers. Okay, we got some extra numbers here, so what I'm going to do is go straight to first minus 6, and I've got a 3 times the square root of x plus 3 equals 12, right? Just get rid of the extra numbers, gone, right? I'm going to get rid of this 3 because it's an extra number, so I divide by 3, I've got the square root of x plus 3 equals, well, 3, doggone it, Bill, is a 4, and then we're going to square it. Square it. Square it. So the square cancels the square root. I'll be left with an x plus 3 equals 16. Okay. Minus 3, x equals negative 13. Okay, good enough. So if I check the answer, I'll put it in to see if it equals 18. So how do you check the answer? X is negative 13. I plug it in. Okay, I'm going to go simply 3 times the square root of, let's see, negative 13, right? Negative 13 plus 3, close my parentheses, plus 6. Is that going to equal an 18? Boom. Uh-oh. Oh, I put in the wrong number, didn't I? Doggone, I knew I did something wrong. 3 times the square root of negative 13. We'll try it again. Negative 13 plus 3 So maybe this answer doesn't work. Oh, that's because it's positive 13. I knew something was wrong. Happy Monday, Bill. There's my first, or happy Tuesday, Bill. Here's my first mistake. Do it again. Do it again. 3 square root of a positive 13. Yeah, plus 3. Close parentheses. Plus 6. And I do get 18. Okay, there we go. First mistake of the day. Okay, number 4. Automatically, I know that it's not going to work. I know it because you cannot have a fourth root of a negative number. But if you didn't know that, let's just try and check it. I'm going to show you where sometimes it does not work, okay? Fourth root. So let's see, negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25 times negative 5 is negative 125 times. Another one is positive 625. So I've got x plus 3 equals my positive 625. That is negative 5 to the fourth power. Okay, now, minus 3, I've got x equals, well, minus 3 is 622. Now, you'd think that's the right answer, 622, my bad. So you plug it in. Let's see if it's going to equal negative 5. It's got to equal negative 5, right? So I'm going to go fourth root. So let's see. In my calculator, I'm going to go 4, math, and I go root of, okay, and then I'm going to go my 622 plus 3, close parentheses. Am I going to get negative 5? No, it doesn't like it anyway, okay? So it can't work. So you throw out the answer. It does not work. No solution. That one. Okay? So you can't, even roots can't equal negatives, nor can you take the negative root of an even. Okay, now, number 7. A little bit harder. Let's take a look at number 7. What are we going to do? Well, I'm going to square both sides. This one's going to be harder, okay? Pay attention. We'll go slowly. So I square both sides. Well, what does that mean? Well, I've got to have an x minus 7 squared. That is not x squared minus 49. It is x minus 7 times an x minus 7 equals an x minus 5, okay? Well, wow, that's, looks like we got a little work to do. We're going to have to FOIL this. We're going to have to go that times that, that times that. That times that, that times that. So I'm going to get an x squared minus 7x minus another 7x plus a 49 equals x minus 5, okay? All right, this is going to take some work. I can do it, though. I can. Negative 7x makes a negative 14x plus 49 equals x minus 5. Okay, gosh. Looks like I might have to factor and solve. Looks like I might have to factor. So I want to set it equal to 0. I want to set it equal to 0. So let's go get it equal to 0. Let's go minus x, because that'll get rid of that. Let's go plus 5, because that'll get rid of the 5. And let's see what happens. So we get it equal to 0, right? We've got an x squared minus a 15x. Let's see, what's that, a 54? Now, I think we're going to have to factor, right? 2 answers, but I need my mini equations first. Okay, so 54, 6 and 9. 6 and 9 makes 15. Ah, I like it. X minus 6, x minus 9 equals 0, okay? So then, I've got my mini equations. One answer is just x equals 6 and x equals 9. But I better check these because I don't think the 6 is going to work. I'll tell you why I don't think the 6 is going to work. If I go back to my original, let me rewrite my original the way it was. Okay, let me rewrite it. It was x minus 7 equals the square root of a x minus 5. The reason I don't think the 6 is going to work is because when the 6 goes up here, you're going to get a negative number. But I can check it. I can check it, okay? So I plug it in. If I go 6, well, I know 6 minus 7. Well, I can show you. I don't need the calculator. I plug in the 6. If I plug in the 6, I get a 6 minus 7, which is negative 1. If I plug in the 6 here, I get a positive 1. They don't equal. So I have to throw out the 6. The 9 does work. You can check the 9, but the 9 does work, okay? Now, example. Let's actually, I want to do this one. I want to do this one. This last example. Here's what I know. This x plus 3, let's solve, square it. we're going to get an x plus 3. Squared is an x plus 3. Has to be less than or equal to 25. Minus 3, minus 3. X is less than or equal to 22. Right? Right? But not exactly right, because you see that x, real quickly, think about this. X cannot equal negative 4. What do I talk about? Well, think about it. If you plugged in negative 4, what would happen? So there's two parts to this. X also has to be greater than or equal to negative 3. Because if it's less than negative 3, think about this real quick. I want square root of negative 4 plus 3, square root of negative 1. No, can't happen. So you get an interval. It has to be all of the numbers in between. So in interval notation, we could write as negative 3, comma 22. And we'll talk about this more next time we meet for Zoom. I'll talk about this more, but there are, it's an interval of answers, because your answers can't be less than negative 3, because if you put anything less than negative 3 in here, you get the square root of a negative number, and these have to be real numbers, not imaginary. Okay, so we'll talk about this some more next time I Zoom with you. Get the homework done, get it to me, and all will be well.